I know what you're thinking. You've probably already made up your mind based on the title alone. But before you judge me, hear me out. I invited my ex to my wedding. I know it sounds absurd, and in hindsight, it probably was. But at the time, it made perfect sense. I told myself it was for closure, and honestly, I almost believed it. Almost. It's complicated, though. Life, love, weddings, it's all one big, complicated mess sometimes, isn't it? I'm Thea, 29, and up until recently, I was deep in planning what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. You know the drill. Pinterest boards overflowing with rustic, chic barn vibes. Hours spent agonizing over the exact shade of dusty rose versus blush pink for the bridesmaid dresses. Deciding on the perfect shade was crucial, people. Then there were the fairy lights, sourcing them like my life depended on it. I work in corporate event planning. Yes, I know it's boring, but it means I have standards. This wedding wasn't just a party. It was my magnum opus. Silas, my fiancé, is 31, works in IT, steady, reliable, and practical to his core. He just didn't get it on the same level. Don't get me wrong, Silas is perfect on paper. He's kind, thoughtful, and adores me in this quiet, consistent way that should make you feel secure. And most of the time it does. But when it came to wedding planning, oh boy. He'd pull out spreadsheets to discuss the budget when I was trying to explain the emotional significance of hand-torn, decal-edged invitations. He'd ask if we really needed the artisanal macaron tower from that fancy bakery downtown when his mom had volunteered to make cupcakes. Cupcakes. At my wedding. It was like trying to explain color to someone who only sees in black and white. His practicality felt less like support and more like an anchor, constantly dragging down my vision, my aesthetic, my dream. Sometimes, usually late at night when I was scrolling through endless photos of floral arrangements or calligraphy styles, my mind would drift back to Julian. My ex. The one before Silas. Julian was the opposite of stable. He was a musician, intense, wildly passionate, and infuriatingly unpredictable. Our relationship was a roller coaster of highs and lows, full of screaming matches followed by passionate makeups. Breakups that lasted a week before we'd crash back into each other's arms. It was exhausting, unsustainable, and probably toxic as hell. But damn, was it exciting. Julian understood the vibe, the aesthetic, the passion. He wouldn't have questioned the macaron tower. He would have probably tried to write a song about it. Comparing Silas's steady, dependable love to the chaotic fireworks of my time with Julian felt unfair. I knew it was unfair. Silas was the safe harbor, the man I was building a life with. Julian was a memory, a closed chapter, or mostly closed. Sometimes, though, an old playlist would pop up, a song that was ours, and my stomach would do that weird flip. Or I'd see a couple arguing passionately in public and feel a strange pang of nostalgia. It was messed up, and it started subtly poisoning how I saw Silas's quiet affection. His thoughtful gesture of bringing me coffee just the way I like it seemed bland compared to Julian writing a song about my eyes, even if he later used the same lyrics for someone else. I know. Internal I roll at myself. Then came the guest list. The absolute bane of every bride's existence. Who makes the cut? Do we invite Great and Mildred who pinches cheeks and smells like mothballs? Does second cousin Kevin get a +1, even though he'll definitely bring that awful girl who got too drunk at the last family gathering? Silas and I spent hours debating, negotiating, staring at spreadsheets that made my eyes cross. His approach was logical, family first, close friends, necessary work colleagues. My approach was more emotional, curated, who would contribute to the vibe. Then, my cursor hovered over Julian's name in my contacts. I hadn't talked to him in ages. Not really. We ran in vaguely adjacent social circles, enough that I'd heard snippets of his life. I ran into a mutual friend a few weeks back who mentioned that Julian was doing well. He had a new gallery show opening. Seemed happy. Curiosity sparked. Maybe even a flicker of that old competitive spirit. Later that night, fueled by wedding stress and maybe a glass too much of wine, I did the inevitable. I stalked his Instagram. He looked good, happy, successful, in his artsy, non-conventional way. And that's when the idea hit me, like a rogue champagne cork. Invite him to the wedding. My wedding. To Silas. My brain immediately went into justification overdrive. This wasn't about lingering feelings. Absolutely not. This was about maturity. Yes, maturity. It would show everyone, including myself, how completely over him I was, how secure I was in my relationship with Silas. It was about closure. The ultimate closure. Letting Julian see me, radiant and happy, marrying this wonderful, stable man who adored me. It wasn't about rubbing it in his face. Of course not. It was about demonstrating my personal growth. Proving that I had won the breakup. That I was the one who got the happy ending. I knew instantly that Silas would hate the idea. He knew about Julian, of course. Not the gritty details, but enough. He'd been uncomfortable once when we ran into Julian unexpectedly downtown, sensing that unresolved energy in the air. Silas is all about honesty, clear boundaries, no unnecessary drama. Inviting my intense ex-boyfriend to our wedding would be setting off alarm bells, flare guns, possibly air raid sirens in his mind. So, I decided it was better not to tell him. Why cause him unnecessary stress? Why make him feel insecure? This was my closure. My journey. It didn't need his input. It was my wedding too, right? Julian was a part of my story, a significant one. Ignoring that felt inauthentic. Dishonest. In a way, inviting him was actually the more honest thing to do. If you really thought about it. It was harmless. A symbolic gesture. My heart pounded a weird rhythm against my ribs as I logged into the online invitation platform. Found Julian's email address, still memorized annoyingly enough, and clicked send. A little thrill shot through me. The thrill of the forbidden, quickly followed by a wave of self-congratulation. Look at me, I thought. So mature. So healed. So magnanimous. Silas would totally overthink this. Make it about his insecurities. This way was cleaner. Plus, won't it be satisfying to have Julian see me walking down the aisle to someone as solid as Silas? That's the ultimate closure. Yeah, closure. That's what it was. The RSVPs started rolling and almost immediately. Every email notification made my stomach jump. I'd scan the subject line, heart thudding, sorting the yes from the regretfully declines. I set up a rule to filter the wedding responses into a separate folder, trying to maintain some semblance of control over the information flow. Then one Tuesday morning, there it was. An email notification that slipped past my filter. Subject: Julian Vance has responded to Thea and Silas's wedding. My breath hitched. I clicked it open, hands slightly shaking. Will be attending. My heart did that weird thing again, simultaneously lurching with panic and perverse excitement. He was actually coming. Holy crap. The symbolic gesture just got very, very real. Now the real work began. Operation: keep Julian a secret from Silas. It was exhausting. I deleted the RSVP notification email immediately. Checked the online platform to make sure his name wasn't flagged. Somehow started mentally rearranging the seating chart in my head. Where could I put him where Silas wouldn't notice or question it? Table near the back. Sprinkled amongst some old college friends Silas didn't know well. The anxiety started simmering constantly beneath the surface. I became hyper-aware of Silas looking over my shoulder when I was on my laptop. Angling the screen away instinctively. I started keeping the physical RSVP cards hidden in a drawer under sweaters. The shared Google Sheet we used for tracking guests? I made a duplicate version, my own secret spreadsheet where Julian existed, while keeping the shared one pristine and Julian-free. It felt like juggling invisible bowling balls. The stress manifested in weird ways. I became incredibly snappy. Silas would ask a simple question about the florist bill, and I'd bite his head off about how he didn't trust my judgment. He'd gently suggest maybe we didn't need 3 different signature cocktails, and I'd accuse him of trying to stifle my creativity and ruin the guest experience. Poor Silas. He kept trying to address the tension, asking if I was okay, if the wedding planning was getting to be too much. Maybe we should take a break from it this weekend, he suggested kindly. One night, I almost burst into tears. Not from stress, but from the guilt and sheer effort of maintaining the lie. I'm fine, I snapped. It's just a lot. You wouldn't understand. I subtly shifted the blame, making the general wedding stress the villain, maybe even implying he was contributing to it with his endless practical questions. Internal monologue during a particularly tense discussion about napkin colors? He's debating ivory versus cream like it's a life-or-death decision. Meanwhile, I'm mentally calculating the blast radius if Julian actually shows up. Priorities, Silas. God, this secret is giving me hives. We had a close call about 3 weeks before the wedding. We were looking at the digital RSVP list together on my laptop, the clean version. I thought Silas was scrolling, confirming numbers. Okay, so that's 112 confirmed. He paused, squinting at the screen. Who's Julian V? Friend of yours from college? My blood turned to ice water. I must have forgotten to delete him from one backup list or something. Think fast, Thea. Oh, Julian Vance?
Yeah, wow.
Blast from the past. Knew him ages ago. Debate team or something. Honestly, barely remember him. Must have gotten the invite through my parents' list somehow. Weird. I waved a dismissive hand, trying to seem nonchalant while my heart hammered against my ribs. Silas just shrugged. Huh, okay. Crisis averted. But the lie left a metallic taste in my mouth, and my palms were sweating. This was getting harder, not easier. The wedding was getting closer, and Julian Vance was officially listed as attending. It all came crashing down. Predictably, about 2 weeks before the wedding, we were in the thick of it. Final payments due. Chasing down rogue RSVPs, trying to finalize the damn seating chart. Silas, bless his organized, spreadsheet-loving heart, was doing a final cross-reference. He had the caterer's confirmed meal choice list open on his tablet and the master guest count spreadsheet, the real one, I'd stupidly left open on my laptop, displayed side by side. He was murmuring names and numbers, checking things off. I was half listening, fiddling with ribbon samples, when he suddenly went silent. Utterly still. I glanced over. He was staring at my laptop screen, his brow furrowed. Then slowly he looked up at me. His expression shifted from confusion to a dawning, horrified understanding. Thea. His voice was quiet. Dangerously quiet. Why is Julian Vance on the spreadsheet with a meal choice? Your ex? Julian? There it was. The moment I had simultaneously dreaded and maybe even anticipated. The bubble of secrecy had burst. No more hiding. No more careful maneuvering. My first instinct was pure panic. A desperate urge to slam the laptop shut. Deny everything. But it was too late. His name was right there. Julian Vance. Chicken. I took a deep breath. Squared my shoulders. Time to deploy the narrative.
Calm. Mature.
Slightly wounded that he would even question me. Silas, honey. I started, forcing my voice to stay even, maybe even injecting a touch of patronizing sweetness. Let's not make this into a thing. Yes, I invited him, but it's really not what you think. I stood up, walked around the table, and tried to put a placating hand on his arm. He flinched almost imperceptibly, but I felt it. Honestly, I continued, looking him earnestly in the eyes, it's just closure for me. That's all. Seeing him there, at our wedding, watching me marry you, the amazing man I chose. It's about closing that chapter, definitively. It signifies how much I've moved on. How secure I am with us. It's healthy, Silas. It's growth. I framed it as a testament to our strength. My evolution. How could he possibly object to that? His face remained impassive, but his eyes, were filled with a hurt that cut deeper than any yelling could have. Closure, he repeated flatly. You think inviting your ex-boyfriend, the one you told me was this intense, passionate relationship, to our wedding behind my back is closure? Don't twist this, I said quickly, feeling my defensiveness rise. This isn't about him. It's about me. It's about my emotional journey. Don't you trust me enough to handle this? Why are you being so insecure?
See?
Flip it. Make his valid concerns about his insecurity. Gaslighting 101, maybe, but survival instincts were kicking in. Trust you? Silas finally stood up. His voice was gaining an edge, but still controlled. You lied to me, Thea. For weeks. Apparently, you deliberately hid this. We talked about boundaries with exes. Remember? We agreed it wasn't healthy to keep those doors open. This isn't about closure. This feels like you needing his validation. Or maybe just disrespecting me. Disrespecting us. He wasn't shouting, but his words were precise, cutting. He pointed out the lie. The inherent awkwardness it would create for everyone. The fundamental violation of the partnership we were supposed to be building. My carefully constructed, mature adult facade crumbled.
Fine.
He wanted a fight? He'd get one. Oh, so it's okay for you to be friendly with Sarah from accounting, grabbing coffee all the time, but I can't even invite someone from my past to witness my happiness? I threw back, dredging up a long dead, totally irrelevant non-issue.
Scorekeeping.
Deflection. Whatever it took. You're trying to control me. You're ruining what's supposed to be the happiest time of my life with your jealousy. Tears started welling up. Maybe some real, mostly strategic weaponized vulnerability. Make him feel like the bad guy for calling out my bad behavior. But Silas didn't melt. He didn't rush to comfort me or apologize for upsetting me. That Mr. Growth mindset thing he was always reading about was apparently kicking in. He stood his ground, his expression hardening. This isn't about Sarah, and it's not about control. It's about honesty. It's about starting our marriage on solid ground. Not on secrets and lies. He took a deep breath, and his next words landed like stones. I love you, Thea. I want to marry you. But I cannot stand up there in front of everyone we know and say my vows, knowing you lied to me. To invite your ex-boyfriend, someone who clearly still holds some kind of significance for you. Otherwise, you wouldn't have gone to these lengths. It's not happening. He looked me straight in the eye. You need to uninvite him. Call him, email him, tell him it was a mistake, an oversight, whatever. But he cannot be at our wedding. If he comes, Thea, if he's there, I don't know if I can go through with this. An ultimatum. He gave me an ultimatum, days before our wedding. The sheer audacity of it knocked the breath out of me. How dare he? After all the planning, the stress, the money spent, he was willing to throw it all away because of his insecurity? It was unbelievable. It just proved everything I had secretly suspected. He was controlling. He didn't trust me. He was trying to ruin my perfect day. Are you serious? I hissed, the tears instantly drying up, replaced by cold fury. You're asking me to choose now? You want me to call Julian and humiliate myself? Humiliate him? Because you can't handle it? Absolutely not. I crossed my arms, defiant. Let him see I wouldn't be bullied. The argument raged, but we were at an impasse. He wouldn't budge on the principle of honesty and boundaries. I wouldn't budge on my right to have closure, and maybe a little drama on my terms. The conversation ended with slammed doors and icy silence. Later that night, stewing in my righteous anger, I did exactly what you'd expect. I called Julian. Not to uninvite him, obviously, but to vent, to complain, to paint Silas as this unreasonable, insecure ogre who is trying to sabotage our wedding. Can you believe him? I lamented, conveniently leaving out the part where I lied for weeks. He's making this huge drama out of nothing. It's just about closure, you know? Julian predictably was sympathetic. He offered vague pronouncements about how some people just don't understand deep connections and how I deserve to have my full history acknowledged. It was exactly the validation I craved, pouring fuel on my self-righteous fire. Talking to him felt easy. Validating. Talking to Silas felt like hitting a brick wall of unreasonable expectations. The final days leading up to the wedding were thick with tension. So palpable, you could cut it with a butter knife. Assuming we remembered to order butter knives amidst the drama, we moved through the motions. Final dress fittings. Picking up the marriage license. Dealing with last-minute vendor calls. Like two polite, hostile strangers. My bridesmaids walked on eggshells around us, exchanging worried glances. My parents kept asking if everything was okay, sensing the frost. I plastered on a smile and blamed it all on pre-wedding jitters. Silas tried talking to me again, calmly, the night before the rehearsal dinner. Thea, please, let's fix this. Just tell him not to come. We can move past this. But I saw it as weakness. As him. Trying to manipulate me again. We've been over this, Silas, I said coldly. The invitations are sent. The seating chart is done. It's too late. It wasn't too late, of course, but admitting that would mean admitting I was wrong. And I wasn't wrong. He was the one making impossible demands. The rehearsal dinner was excruciating. We sat at opposite ends of the long table, forcing smiles, making stilted conversation with relatives. Every congratulatory toast felt like a lie. I caught Julian's eye across the room. He'd shown up looking effortlessly cool, chatting easily with some of my old college friends I'd seated him with. He gave me a small, knowing smile. A little secret shared between us in a room full of people celebrating a union that felt like it was already crumbling. Silas saw the exchange. His jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Now, it's the morning of the wedding. Sun streaming through the window of the bridal suite. My dress hangs on the door like a pristine white cloud. My makeup artist hums while she applies mascara. My bridesmaids sip champagne, trying to inject forced cheer into the room. But there's an undercurrent of dread. Silas is getting ready across the hall. Or maybe at his parents' house. I don't even know. We haven't spoken since last night's icy standoff. Is he going to show up at the altar? Am I? The whole thing feels surreal. Fragile. Like the slightest tremor could shatter it all. My phone buzzes. A text from Julian. See you soon. Hope your groom isn't freaking out too much. LOL. I quickly delete it. My internal monologue is a chaotic mess. Resentment swirls around Silas. How could he put me in this position? Self-pity washes over me. My perfect day is ruined. Flashes of defiance. I won't let him control me. I regret the fight, the stress, the ugly tension that's poisoned everything. I regret that Silas isn't just blindly trusting my maturity, that he isn't just playing the supportive fiancé role I assigned him. But do I regret inviting Julian? Honestly?
No.
Maybe Silas is right. Maybe this is about needing validation, about wanting to keep a door cracked open to that old excitement. Or maybe it really is just about closure. And Silas is too insecure to handle it. If he can't handle this small thing, this tiny acknowledgement of my past, maybe he's not strong enough for me after all. Maybe this whole thing falling apart is actually his fault. For not trusting me. For giving me that ridiculous ultimatum. The makeup artist steps back. You look beautiful, Thea. I stare at my reflection, the perfect bride, but my eyes look haunted. The music is supposed to start soon. Downstairs, guests are arriving. Julian is probably mingling, charming someone's grandmother. Silas? Silas is somewhere. And I have to walk down that aisle, toward a future that feels terrifyingly uncertain. My perfect wedding day. What a joke. And somehow, deep down, I still feel like none of this is really my fault.